Uh, hey, what's up going on, guys? Alright, that's really cringy. Um, okay, so I was just screwing around in Blender, with the, nodes. Yeah, it got a little bit messy, but I was watching some videos online. Some people were making some pretty cool toon shaders, and I noticed some technique that someone used to get a sort of hatching look to it, so I went a little bit further and I made like an entire shader based around that with a built-in outline. Allows you to choose if you want it to have color based off of global lighting, all that. But anyways, it's a pretty neat shader, so I guess I'll just show it. So here you go. It's a crappy model I'm trying to fix up. It's an older one. But if you look, yeah, I've got you can see around the edges, like around the arms and stuff. It's not perfect. There's definitely better ways of doing outlines, but this is kind of, I mean, it's an option you can enable or disable, so I mean that's for my skin. I can also disable it for that. So it's pretty flexible too. So if you look at my clothes right here, I'm using an emission shader, and basically, the only reason is because it's if you use an emission shader with this, it's simply going to color your shader, but the shading will actually be done by my cross hatching and hatching system. So as you can see, the areas that aren't lit so much are getting shaded with cross hatching and hatching, which is done via a procedural wave texture, and one of them is mapped to cross. The other one was just hatching, and it's specified to do it at a certain darkness. Over here, and actually it doesn't matter what shader you plug into the shader, it'll always be the same hatching in the same area. This is mostly intended to be used with an emission and a diffuse shader, but of course you can always add a principled shader if you're into that kind of stuff. There's my color. I'll drop that in there. It kind of wants to freeze up while I swap out my colors and shaders, because yeah, and also my CPU sucks for encoding, so trying to run Blender and a video recorder at once slows things down a bit for me. So that's a legitimate thing for me. I want to get a second PC working that I have for the encoding, but can happen. All right, it just drew one more frame, so I'm guessing it's getting close. But yeah, Principled is going to run a lot slower with this, and it was really only intended for super minimalistic designs. But as you can see, there we go, we've got our specularity. We can turn that up or down over here, right, as you would expect. But it's all being turned into a toon effect. Actually, if we disable the hatching on this, or we don't even have to do that, we can just plug in the pure cell shading thing. I have a little extra output over here for if you want to only get the cell shaded output instead of the composite that has the outline and the hatching. It's a little bit faster for drawing, and maybe you just don't want those options. But yeah, as you can see, the hatching is not there, but we've got that, you know, very choppy sort of shading that anime viewers and makers might enjoy. Oh god, what the hell am I even saying? But anyways, yeah, but works a lot better with emission and diffuse shaders, just it's meant to be simplistic. You can also you can change the hatching size down here with this control. I'm not be seeing much happen, but as you can see, that's kind of making it smaller and larger. At larger sizes, you can probably probably see it a lot better. Like right there. I set that to like 50. You'll be able to see that hatching working very easily. Nice thing about this is it doesn't take too many samples to draw, so it's even set that to one single sample, and I've disabled viewport denoising. It doesn't really do much for us in this case. If I disabled that, you would just, all of this is the anti-aliasing. It doesn't really do much for this shader if you use it correctly. Also, this quick thing to note, disable, I don't know what it's doing. If you take a look at this, as I pan the camera around, you'll actually see that it stays locked in basically one position, so probably see it even better if I were to go like this. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, there's my my model reference. Haha. But if you look, it's staying locked in no matter where my screen is. It's not warping, and that's because it's mapped to the screen. So I thought that would be better, just because it wouldn't be distorted. It would look like it was actually hatched, maybe with a pencil or something, I don't know. And it really, the best use case that I can find for this is, here, let me change my eyes here. Change the clothes to use one of that. And I use an emission, and as you can see, it almost does look kind of crosshatch, right? Like it was hand drawn. That was the look that I was going for, at least. And I mean, I can enable a subdivision modifier to smooth out those lines, but I don't know, in my opinion it works decently, I guess. I mean, it's not horrible. But yeah, so just setting it like this, and yeah, I mean, God, is my face poorly modeled? That's kind of the work in progress part of this model right now. But yeah, it does work. Oh good God, this subdiv is ruining my eyes. But yeah, it's the biggest draw to this is that if you wanted to, say, make a faked cartoon style render, you could just simply do that with this. That was the main goal. I think it worked out pretty well. Yeah, and then one other thing to note, it's not perfect, so if you look, like, my outline doesn't exactly work all the time. It's secretly using a Fresnel, because that was just the quickest way that I could grab that edge of the model, and then it's just ramping the color right there, and it's multiplying the overall image with that, and you'll see it actually does affect the brightness of the model. So if you look right there, yeah. Also, by the way, my mic is probably gonna sound really shitty. I'm using my laptop, but the lid is closed because I'm using my TV screen. So I'm guessing it's gonna be really muffled or something, and I just threw a couple filters on it in OBS, and so it's probably gonna sound even worse. But anyways, the way that I was intending to actually do the outline, it's a little bit better way. I'll probably do a correct tutorial on my main channel later, but if you were to take this model, okay, you would want to add a, where is it? the solidify, right? You set the thickness to like to a negative value. You would flip the normals. You would add a completely black material. So that's emission. This works incredibly well, by the way. Settings, backface combing. So yeah, if you go here, there's the material index. So you set that up a whole bunch. Now this is kind of a much more reliable method because it actually does give you a solid outline like that. Uses more geometry, but that's not really a big issue if you use a simple shader for it. But yeah, thanks for attending my TED Talk. I plan to release this shader after I kind of fix it up a bit more, but that's kind of just a quick look at what I have done so far. Not perfect, but I'm sure someone out there will find this useful. I'll probably make a YouTube video where I try to use this as best as I can to maybe like an animation where I animate a character and I'm like, hey, look at this thing I painstakingly hand drew, and then I'll do like a breakdown segment where I show blow everyone's mind. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, I'll release it soon. If I forget, then ping me on Discord if it means that much to you. And anyways, I'm probably gonna end off there because now I'm kind of just rambling. So awesome. Bye.